Welcome to Worcester, Massachusetts for a matchup between two New England men's lacrosse rivals as Harvard makes the quick trip down the Mass Pike to visit Holy Cross, a series that's been really good as of late. 3 of the last 4 times these two programs have met, we've needed double overtime to decide it. And with that, we welcome you alongside Craig White. I'm Travis Seldridge. Welcome to Worcester, a series, Craig, that's been really good as of late.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of a microcosm, this series, as to how both of these programs have been on a trajectory as of late. Harvard's kind of flatlined after 33 straight wins over Holy Cross. The Crusaders have won the last 2 now, taking double overtime for both, but I don't think it's too early to say that this is a new era in Holy Cross lacrosse.
Taking a look at our players to watch here tonight, let's start with Harvard, and it's Kyle Anderson, a guy who's a returning leader on this offense.
Yeah, a 5-point day to open the season at UMass on Saturday. He had 2 goals, 2 assists against Holy Cross last year. Really interested to see how first-year offensive coordinator Neil Hutchinson is using that top attack unit on the Crimson side.
On the Holy Cross side of things, it all starts at the face-off X with Dan O'Connell.
Yeah, O'Connell, 65.5% thus far, 12th in the country. Not often that you see a face-off guy shooting, but he's already got 3 goals, including 2 against UMass Lowell. We'll see how head coach Peter Burke allows him, if he allows him, to shoot after face-off wins here tonight.
We will see if tonight lives up to the hype of 3 of the last 4 years. 1-goal games deciding Harvard and Holy Cross. We have face-off here on the other side from Worcester. Welcome back here to Worcester, Massachusetts. Just about ready for opening face-off between Harvard and Holy Cross. Travis Eldridge and Craig White back with you. Craig, we were talking about it just earlier. The series history between these two has been terrific at the face-off X. Should be an interesting matchup here today. We mentioned Dan O'Connell at the beginning. He's the face-off man for Holy Cross. 65% on the year so far, 55 of 84. For Harvard, it's Steven Cucciarulo, 31% on the year. The Crimson have struggled a bit at the face-off X, or at least struggled in their season opening loss this past Saturday to UMass.
Yeah, and that more recent series history or more recent program history for Harvard, they've been better since getting guys like Massimilian and Cucciarulo into the lineup prior to these two now juniors getting into the mix for the Crimson. It was really tough at the X for Harvard, but so far with them in the lineup, it's been a bit better as of late.
A face-off win to start things off. A long pole goal, and Harvard strikes first. It's Frankie Tangretti, the junior from Smithtown, New York.
Well, not always do we see this Harvard offense, or maybe now things are completely different with a new coaching staff, and why wouldn't they be? But typically they like to work the ball around, work it deep into a shot clock, get their offensive sets set, and then try to proceed forward with some sort of formation. This time, kind of a scrambled type play, a little bit of improvisation, and the long stick, Frankie Tangretti, not known necessarily for his offensive skills, but gets the first one today.
His second goal of the season, did have a goal in that season opening win against UMass this past Saturday, a 10-9 victory for Harvard.
Yeah, led 6-1 at the half of that game against the Minutemen. First win over a ranked opponent since May of 2016, so good things already in the opener for new head coach Jerry Byrne.
And Holy Cross bounces back with a face-off win, and we get a chance to see the Crusaders offense for the first time tonight. Justin Lisinski there coming out of the midfield, joined by Connor Waldron now. Lisinski already 8 goals in the first 4 games. He drives in as the ball hit the turf, and it's scooped up by Harvard, caused turnover for the Crimson.
Yeah, pretty basic defense that time by Harvard, going for the bottom hand. And just a little bit unsure with the ball that time from Linsky. Got to be a little bit more sure-handed. No need to rush towards the net and go try to split those 2 defenders in that situation.
Jack Forsoli in a little bit of trouble, and he turns it over around midfield. And back comes Holy Cross. Kevin Kodsis, one of the leaders of this Holy Cross offense, coming off a 36-point season a year ago. That was second on the team. Already 12 points this season. Long-range shot is saved. The first action for Kyle Mullen in the crease for Harvard, and he makes his first stop.
Yeah, Mullen's been impressive, especially last year, really seeing his first time as a starter between the pipes. Nice little system that Harvard had set up here where they had a couple different freshmen sit for a year and then were starters their last 3 years. Mullen's been a representation of that system, a two-time, or falling off after a two-time All-Ivy League player a few years ago.
Now our first set look at the Harvard offense after they scored in transition off the opening face-off. This is Kyle Anderson. We mentioned him in the open. Harvard's midfield unit gets some touches as well. Anderson feeds the middle. Harvard takes a 2-0 lead. It's Ryan Graff with his first of the year.
Well, really interested to see what happens with Ryan Graff this season. He really had a breakout first 3 games of last year, 14 points in the first 3 games, and then missed the entire rest of the year. He was on track to shatter his career high, and instead, unfortunately, missed the final 10 games of the year, and big things expected out of him here now in his senior year with Harvard.
Last year, put up a career-high 6 points against this Holy Cross team. A game won by the Crusaders 11-10 at Harvard.
Yeah, that was 8 unanswered goals.
Unbelievable action.
Game. In the third quarter through overtime. Also trailed by 4 after 3 quarters. Holy Cross did.
Stan O'Connell, who wins another face-off for the Crusaders, taking an early edge there at the X, and now it's the sophomore, Will Spangenberg. This Crusaders team averaging 10 goals per game through 4 games, a 3-1 start for Holy Cross, their best start since the 2008 season. Kodzis off the pipe, ricochets all the way over the Harvard bench. It'll be a shot clock reset, so a fresh 80, and Holy Cross keeps possession on the backup. That thing had some heat.
Best shooting look so far for Holy Cross. Still early in this one, obviously just over 3 minutes in, but kind of a wasted possession on the first offensive set. Probably not as high percentage as a look you'd want, even in that case, but almost had one there.
Magalotti feeds. Kodzis, a stop again there by Mullen. Back-to-back nice saves here for Kyle Mullen, coming off a 17-save performance on Saturday.
You're wondering if Mullen has taken an even bigger step this year. As I mentioned, he didn't have...
Got a turnover in the ride. Spangenberg, though, going to take his time. No numbers for Holy Cross. And another offensive set coming here.
Mullen didn't have a ton of time in between the pipes his freshman year. Thrown into the fray last year as a sophomore, and he looked sharp early on. Obviously, Holy Cross, 1, they've been able to practice for longer given Ivy League restrictions, but 2, they're in their 5th game versus Harvard just started on Saturday.
Sean Mullaney dodges the alley, now behind. Connor Waldron from the top box, still plenty of time on the shot clock. Long-range shot off the pipe again from Kodzis.
A good contest, though, by Mullen. Got across pretty quickly, got a piece of it. And apparently in that situation, that's all he needed.
Spangenberg working from X. He shoots just high. Justin Linsky triggering from the corner. Senior from Massapequa, New York. Feed, step down shot. Another stop by Mullen and able to grab the rebound as well. He's feeling it early here and a chance to go out and transition for Harvard. Finally picking up the ground ball is Anderson. Just like on Saturday where they got off to a 6-1 lead against UMass, a pretty fantastic start for the Crimson. Behind the back finish, that was beautiful from Austin Madronic.
I'll keep your eye on 33 in Crimson here tonight. Star freshman last year, 35 points, had 4 hat tricks. Has yet to go scoreless as far as points go in his collegiate career now at Harvard. And by the end of the year, number 25 in the Inside Lacrosse final D1 freshman rankings. Like I talked about Mullen and his jump from year 1 to year 2, and hopefully for his sake, 2 to 3, Madronic, one of those top players, one of the top recruits, probably the top recruit for Harvard last year, now in his sophomore season.
5th point of the season after 4 points against UMass on Saturday, but another face-off win here for O'Connell.
It's all good signs for Harvard that multiple attackmen have already scored in this game. Once they got into conference play last year, it was scoring distribution that ran dry, and some of those high-powered Ivy League offenses like Penn and Cornell, and of course Yale, but they've got other things going on as well. Hard to keep up with sometimes when you don't have 3 or 4 guys scoring.
Well, 2-man game here for Kodzis. He's gotten a couple of good looks so far. Here, tries to split 2, draws a flag. Harvard grabs the loose ball. That will bring us our first penalty of the night. Holy Cross getting a chance to go on the man up.
I think it's just going to be a 30-second technical hold.
That's it. So a 30-second man up coming for the Crusaders. Just 3 for 14 on the year, sitting there at 21% on the man up through 4 games. Here's Waldron, working from the top of the box for this Crusaders man-up unit. Kodzis, back to Waldron, step down, another stop from Mullen. But once again, some issues in the clear here for Harvard. And Craig, that sometimes is where the lack of practice time and organized practice time for these Ivy League teams comes to get you a little bit in February.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 79.7% last year on the clear overall for Harvard. That number not quite where they'd like it to be, and 100%, Travis. It's all about fundamentals and execution early on in the season. You add that, the Ivy League restrictions, as well as the fact that this team's only playing their second game in just a few days as well.
Yeah, Harvard, the last Division I team to play their first game, waiting all the way until this past weekend. Pretty feed, tough shot from Madronic, couldn't finish. First save from Tesoro. We have a loose ball push, though, that'll keep it with Harvard and a fresh 80 seconds.
Yeah, I think if you ask Madronic, he'll tell you he wanted that one back. I don't think he realized how much time he actually had. Took it and took kind of a funky backhand type look. And one of the easier saves that you're going to get coming out of the stick of his.
Isaiah Dawson looking to dodge downhill. Feeds, another stop, that stays out, but another flag down. I believe this one will go against Holy Cross. "30-second penalty coming against Chris Conlon, a sophomore defenseman, already with 14 caused turnovers. He's had a stellar year, but he'll be in the box here for 30 seconds. Our first chance to see the Harvard man-up unit, which went 1 for 4 against UMass on Saturday.
You'd think you'd take that if you're Coach Burke. The physicality coming from Conlon, nearly 2 caused turnovers per game last year, top 20 in the country, and wasn't a ton there. Sure, I guess you're going to get that call to push sometimes, depending on the referees.
Here's Graff, already with 1 goal, shoots just wide. Down to 12 seconds on the penalty.
Simple kind of off-ball rotation. Not exactly a traditional invert there, but the attackman coming up a little bit higher than usual.
Anderson. And we're back to even strength. Holy Cross player back on. One more chance, though, on the end of the man up, and Anderson makes Holy Cross pay.
Great second pass there. Thought the shot might have been coming from the left-hand side. I think the final pass came from Miles Ham. And then Kyle Anderson with that little over-the-top finish. Again, a little bit of deception At least I thought the shot was coming from the prior guy in Ham. Instead, it's Anderson who takes it, and Harvard looking sharp here early on.
And how often do we see the defense relaxes when that penalty gets released just for a split second, but until that extra player comes back on the field, you're still at a bit of a disadvantage and couldn't quite rotate in time to get to Anderson there on the doorstep. Another face-off win here for O'Connell. He's really gotten into a groove here in the first quarter. Holy Cross hasn't been able to take advantage. We got a flag down. O'Connell just sends it. He shoots high, but we'll get a chance to see the penalty. Another for the Crusaders.
Well, that's what I was talking about in the open, wondering how much O'Connell's going to be shooting. He's already got 3 goals in the first 4 games, not typical of a face-off man. And you wonder if he just took that because he saw the flag coming out. If Coach Burke's going to have a word with him if they want to keep possession or not in that situation.
So already second man up opportunity for the Crusaders. 0 for 1 on the night. Another 30-second chance. Once again at the top, it's Mulaney, Waldron. That shot high from Kansas again. Holy Cross has gotten opportunities, but Mullen so far been up to the challenge. Another stop here, and the backup goes to Mullen. Great hustle by the Harvard keeper to get out of the crease.
Oh, you got to love that. Down a man, makes that save, and then turns the corner and wins the race as well. That's high-quality stuff there from Mullen.
And we're back to even strength, but Harvard only has 5 seconds to get this over the midfield stripe. Finally, it's Mullen who sends it all the way into the offensive end, and it's George Loring who touches it in. Remember, new shot clock put into college lacrosse last season. An 80-second shot clock. The first 20 seconds the team has to get it over the midfield stripe. You got to get it over before the 60-second mark. Here's Nick Loring coming out of the box. Moves it along to Jeremy Magno. Now Anderson, and he airmails this one. And a chance for the Crusaders to go a little bit unsettled if they won. Instead, they're going to set things up in the 6-on-6. A turnover there for Harvard.
A little bit too easy for Spangenberg on that loose ball. You would think the advantage would go to the long sticks in that situation. Harvard maybe not locked into where the ball was and just keeping an eye on the man in that situation, and Spangenberg takes advantage.
Let's see if the Crusaders can get on the board here. We mentioned they've had chances here as Mulaney dodges down the near side alley. Waldron, skip pass out top, bounce shot wide. Another good look there on the step down.
Yeah,
Linsky.
Harvard not allowing huge windows right now. Holy Cross getting quick releases off and don't have large lanes to shoot through offensively.
Linsky dodging again. Spangenberg goes to his knees. Pass a little low. Still 15 seconds left on the shot clock for Holy Cross. Pretty move by Mulaney. Shot, another stop by Mullen. And good hustle to deflect it and keep it out, but a loose ball push on Harvard will keep it with Holy Cross and a fresh 80 seconds because that hit off of the goalie. So a new shot clock here for Holy Cross to operate. Kansas backs down his man. Draws a slide. Linsky dumps down and scored. Holy Cross able to strike back and get it to a 4-1 game. It's Dean Donano.
Nice passing sequence there by Holy Cross. Donano right off hip of the post there. Receives that in a real high percentage area. A little head fake and then goes up and over the top. Pretty similar to the Anderson goal that we saw down the other end. And that was key. There have been a couple of second chance opportunities for Holy Cross that they didn't score on. Kyle Mullen's been excellent here in the first quarter. And now after the push, perceivably by Mullen behind the cage, second look for Holy Cross, and they do finish. I think it's important that this doesn't get away from Harvard, although in lacrosse you never know, or get away from Holy Cross here early on.
The advantage they do have is at the face-off X. Just one loss at the X for Holy Cross in this first quarter, and another face-off win for the Crusaders. That's the advantage you have in this sport. Chance for make it, take it. There's Brad Baker, Jr. out of Tampa, Florida. Just one assist on the season, came in the opener against Merrimack. This second midfield unit on for Holy Cross. Cameron Magalotti has it taken away. He was looking for a whistle, but Harvard picks up the ground ball, and they'll go the other way.
I think good no call there. Both players just kind of getting tangled up in one another.
Short stick D midi, Jack Versoli quickly into the box. And Harvard will settle things down. Under 3 minutes to go in this opening quarter. Harvard jumping out to a 4-0 lead before Holy Cross was able to answer here in the last minute. Here's Isaiah Dawson. Watson Cheek. Skip pass back out top to Dawson. Good ball movement here for Harvard, but no opportunities. Now under 20 seconds of the shot clock. Cheek feeds in front. Madronic just a little high on the bounce shot.
Yeah, yanked it just a little bit too much. Madronic late release. Ball bounces a little bit far in front of the crease and the high take.
Ryan Graff with 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Gets a shot off, sends it wide. No backup there for Harvard. Wasn't really going to matter. They were down to 3 seconds on the shot clock, and now a chance for Holy Cross, if they can clear, to possibly hold for one last shot here in the first quarter.
Yeah, you wonder if that's the approach from head coach Burke in this situation, given how good that they've been on the faceoff. Do you wait and take it for one, given how this first quarter has gone, or do you try to go and get a 2-for-1 because of how good your faceoff guy has been?
Sean Mullaney and company look pretty content to get the offensive personnel on, get one good look at this thing late in the first. Linsky sends behind to the sophomore Spangenberg. Down to 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. Mullaney. Good defense here for Harvard so far. Down to 10. Linsky's got to go. And he finds it inside the pipe. He is pumped up, a fist bump, as Holy Cross has got it back within 2.
Well, that's the kind of sequence that we haven't seen Holy Cross be successful at here in the opening 15 minutes. It's kind of a one-on-one type look. Quick little foot race one to gain just enough space to get a shot off, and then a real good shot to beat Mullen clean. That's another positive for Holy Cross and a different sort of development, again, that we haven't seen in the opening 14 minutes or so of this first.
Linsky's 9th goal of the season. And so with 6 seconds left, we go back to the face-off X. It's O'Connell again trying to win it forward, see if he can get one more shot off. He sends it towards the cage. A rebound, a little danger there for Harvard, but it goes with no problems. And the Crimson jumped out to a 4-0 lead. Holy Cross able to get a couple of back at the end of the first quarter, but the Crimson leading by 2 after 1. We'll be back here from Worcester. Welcome back here to Worcester, and this has been a huge advantage for the Crusaders through the first 15 minutes. Dan O'Connell has won 6 of the first 7 faceoffs, and despite the fact the Crusaders are down by 2 as we start the second quarter here, Craig, if you want to come back, winning faceoffs is a great way to do that, and Holy Cross has been dominant at the X so far.
Yeah, it's really the great equalizer in the game of lacrosse, and I haven't seen any signs that this is going to change here tonight. Harvard so far really just going with Cucurullo. He's been the better guy over the last half of last year and obviously has won the job coming into this season. A little bit more contesting that time, and you think you just try to muck it up a little bit more if you're Harvard and use your wingers, your wing middies for help, and that's going to be the way to have some success at the faceoff X.
Had a hold there off of the faceoff that once again gives it to Holy Cross. Another faceoff win there for O'Connell. And the Crusaders, who have scored 2 in a row, a chance to go right back on offense. They had opportunities in that first quarter, but Kyle Mullen, the goalie for Harvard, up to the challenge. 7 saves as this ball is taken away. Loose ball, kept alive, but Linsky comes up with it. He has it poked free again. A couple of caused turnovers there for Harvard. Maybe a little sign of what you're getting from new head coach Jerry Byrne, a guy who's known as a defensive mastermind in college lacrosse, longtime Notre Dame assistant coach, defensive coordinator of one of the best defenses in the country, now leading this Crimson squad. But that one goes out of bounds on Harvard to give it back to Holy Cross.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense given the strengths in the Ivy League and how many good offenses there are. I mentioned them before: Penn, Cornell, and Yale. A lot of the failed face-offs, so that means you are going to be defending a lot more if you are Harvard. Some of the Ivy League defensive rankings haven't gone their way in the last few years, but their struggles defensively hopefully going to be made up in some ground here this season with Coach Byrne, who you mentioned, coming over from the Fighting Irish.
Well, shimmy shake there. Nice little move from Mulaney. Back up here as Donano goes back to work. The freshman rolling near side, squeezes one by, but it hits the side of the cage, and Kyle Mullen has it. Had a chance to start the clear. Once again, some issues in the clearing game for the Crimson. Luckily, though, right place, right time, and Harvard keeps possession.
Yeah, good wherewithal that time by Miles Ham. He's had a good game here tonight. Excellent pass back in that first quarter and good wherewithal to locate the ball and make sure that it wasn't a second consecutive turnover on the Harvard clear, which has been probably their biggest downfall so far here tonight.
Isaiah Dawson coming out of the box. Sophomore from California, top 20 recruit coming out of high school. Under Armour All-American. He moves it along to Loring. He draws the slide, just gets rid of it. Down to 20 seconds on the shot clock for Harvard. It's Bryn Evans. Down the alley, Loring feeds. Anderson couldn't handle it. Holy Cross comes up with the ground ball.
Just didn't feel like in that possession in the last few really for Harvard that there's been any sort of urgency to get the ball towards the net. It's been a lot from the outside. And for the most part, the fundamentals have been strong there for Harvard. You just got to, at some point, try to work it a little bit closer into higher percentage areas like we saw in the opening 8-9 minutes or so offensively for Harvard.
Yeah, you saw a couple of really good opportunities for Austin Madronic there right in front of the crease. Some of those have gone away. Crusaders looking for their 3rd straight goal. That skip pass intercepted. Great active stick by Tengredi.
He'll shoot on these rushes, no doubt about it.
Moves it along, and Madronic, the Canadian, able to settle things up behind the cage. This is Watson Cheek. If you're a Harvard fan, you recognize the name, the brother of Morgan Cheek, who was a goal-scoring machine for the Crimson during his career.
Talk about late and clutch. Always got him the ball. Late moments, fourth quarters, he'd come up big.
Here's Cheek on the step down. Shot never got through. Good hustle to keep it alive for the Crimson. Still 22 seconds on the shot clock.
Miles Ham again.
Making the little plays as Magno sends it back out to Cheek. Feed in front. Madronic stopped away. Tesoro up to the challenge. But a flag down on Holy Cross. I believe they got offsides.
Wow.
They missed that originally as they came across midfield, so it was a free possession there for Harvard. And now another man-up opportunity for the Crimson. Technically 0 for 1, but scored right at the end of the first man-up opportunity they had in the first quarter. Anderson working from X. Loring. Back to Anderson. Loring looking to get those hands free. Skip pass across. Shot blocked before it got to Tesoro. It's a big loose ball. Tesoro scoops it up and able to get out of trouble. And Sean New, the captain, a big ground ball and a penalty kill for Holy Cross.
Yeah, the whole defensive sequence started with Chris Conlon again. Who else for Holy Cross? This guy's been a beast last few years. Second team, NEILA, all New England coming in preseason this year. Blocked that shot, caused a turnover, and got the ball back.
Wow, great break for Holy Cross as they were running out of time to get it over midfield. Just sent it to the other end. It goes out of bounds, but the officials saying it hit a Harvard stick, so it stays with Holy Cross as it went over the end line. And it's Justin Linsky going back to work. Still no scoring early in this second quarter. Waldron, now Donano, already with a goal tonight. Good action, but another stop from Mullen. Up to 9 saves in the night for Kyle Mullen of Harvard.
Excellent read again by Mullen. Saw where the stick was positioned. Read that there wasn't a ton the shooter could do as far as coming across the body would go. And Mullen in position, made a good first step, cut off the angle just enough, and didn't have to move the stick a ton, but had a good read on it, and that helped him to make that stop.
And he has been a great equalizer for the face-off advantage that Holy Cross has had, because the save advantage is weighed heavily in the Crimson's favor.
Yeah, it was the same thing on Saturday against UMass for Harvard.
As Dawson, a little too much on that pass, couldn't find Anderson, another turnover for Harvard. And if you're going to struggle at the face-off, actually you got to find stops somehow at that end of the field, and so far Mullen has been up to it.
Minutemen won 16 of the 22 draws Saturday. They were better on ground balls. UMass was better on the clears. Outshot Harvard 42-29. Seen Holy Cross outshoot the Crimson here so far in the first half. So again, Mullen doing his job.
Spangenberg sends it back out top to Mulaney. Now across to Consis. Forced into the middle, loose ball. But a loose ball hit there after Spangenberg had released that pass. It goes against Harvard, so Holy Cross keeps. No penalty. but a change of possession when Harvard would have had it. Still no scoring more than midway through this second quarter between Holy Cross and Harvard. Holy Cross looking for the third straight win in this rivalry, and it's Denano. The third in a row for the Crusaders. They're back within one.
Same sort of score this time from Holy Cross as far as a quick step. And just beating his guy to the spot, finishing crossbody. Goes to the bounce shot this time. We've seen Mullen make a lot of the saves in the air as Holy Cross gets another one back.
The freshman coming up with a goal. 3 in a row for Holy Cross. They're right back in this thing, down 1 here in Worcester. Welcome back here to Worcester, Massachusetts. Midway through the second quarter, Holy Cross striking first in the second frame, and they have gotten this back to a 1-goal game. Remember, Harvard led 4-0 in this one, but as has been recent history in this game between these two programs, just about anything goes, and runs of 4, 5, 6 goals in a row are not uncommon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Holy Cross is stuck to their game plan. They haven't changed things too much, maybe a little bit on the offensive side. They've just competed better on the defensive side. And what has worked offensively in these last couple for the Crusaders has been a little bit more foot speed, a little bit more team speed to give them larger shooting openings, the kind of windows that they didn't have earlier on in this half.
And the domination at the face-off X continues for Holy Cross. They've only lost 1 face-off so far. That one a ground ball win by Peter Murphy, the short stick D-midi, and another offensive possession for the Crusaders.
Yeah, and it was the first one too, so it's a run of 8 in a row here by Holy Cross.
Justin Linsky already with a goal tonight. Now Kodzis, he is not shy to shoot, he just hasn't found his range yet today. Linsky dodges, skip pass, back out top. Moved along, and now back to Kodzis. Tough angle for him, another stop by Mullen. The backup there, and the shot clock reset for Holy Cross.
That one a little bit more reminiscent of the kind of percentage shots, the kind of area on the field that Harvard was limiting Holy Cross to offensively back in the first quarter. Tough angle, Mullen hugging the post there, tight to it, wasn't going to let that one through.
Here's Spangenberg, fakes high, gets in front, and we're all knotted up. 4 in a row for Holy Cross.
What an effort by Spangenberg. Saw fake after fake here. See a defender coming around in Frizzoli. No look, and the slide comes way too late. Barely comes at all. Bo Botkiss in front. A couple of the Crimson players got tangled up right in front of the crease. And because Frizzoli had to come around, obviously as a defender you can go through your own crease, but he's trying to avoid the cage. No one was marked on Spangenberg initially. A couple of fakes, and you know, there's not many goaltenders in the nation that are going to stop that one. Skilled goaltender, and you can't fault Mullen in that situation.
Now Spangenberg taking advantage of the short stick matchup there at X as he gets the short stick D-midi Jack Frizzoli on him. A big battle at the face-off X, another ground ball by Murphy, and another face-off win for the Crusaders.
It feels like forever since Harvard's even had a possession on the offensive end.
Is the type of games for an offense like Harvard where you go through stretches where you just don't touch the ball. It gets frustrating, and then you start to press a little bit. There's Jace Lambert on the run, and Holy Cross has its first lead. The freshman from Norwell, Massachusetts, with his second goal of the season.
Well, another new goal scorer for Holy Cross. Same sort of situation that we've seen here. That's probably the first one that Mullen wants to have back. Onto the stick side, about hip high. So one that typically Mullen has from that kind of angle, but a good shot coming from Lambert. And just won the race to the outside, fired it through.
5 goals in a row for Holy Cross. And if this face-off domination continues, Harvard's going to have to find a way to get a stop. finally a face-off win here for Harvard on a violation, as that ball was stuck under somebody there in the middle. And the Crimson offense finally gets a touch here as we near 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Yeah, no one could find the ball. Initially located, and finally it emerged from underneath O'Connell, and a withholding call goes against Holy Cross, so Harvard finally gets it. Chance to equalize here with 4 to go in the half.
You're Harvard. What are you looking for offensively here if you want to get a high percentage opportunity?
I want to see a little bit more out of the middies. Haven't seen a ton of offense from that group yet.
Skip pass back out top. Kyle Salvatore. Now Loring off the pipe. That one ricocheted all the way up into the stands. It's about the third or fourth pipe Harvard has hit so far tonight.
And no need to rush or be anxious just because Holy Cross has scored 5 in a row if you're Harvard. It's a 1-goal game. All the time in the world still left in this ball game, so make sure you get a high percentage look, work it around, get it deep in a shot clock, and get the look that you're looking for here, not some sort of rushed anxiety type take.
Here's Bryn Evans. Salvatore looking for some space. Loring, room on the step down, and it looked like it deflected off of maybe a Holy Cross player out of bounds. Stays with Harvard with 45 seconds of the shot clock.
I think that was Morrissey. That quick closing speed. Seen that more here in the second quarter from Holy Cross, getting sticks on shots to send them in errant directions.
Anderson has it taken away by the cause turnover machine, Chris Conlon.
It's an absolute beast. Just got a great head for the game, that lacrosse IQ. He was right there in that spot. Fundamental game is right on spot as well. And Holy Cross got to make sure they get it over the line here.
Conlon moves it along, and there is the clear for the Crusaders. Transition chance for Holy Cross. That one hit the bar for Kodzis. You think about Conlon. Comes into this game ranked 3rd in the country in caused turnovers per game. He's averaging 3.5 of them. His 14 caused turnovers are a pretty good season for most defensemen. He's done it in 4 games.
Right.
Holy Cross back on offense, and another score. 6 in a row for the Raiders. It's Justin Linsky's second of the night.
It's more simple offense from Holy Cross. It's not taking quite as much effort exerted as it was, opening 15 or 20 minutes of this half or so. And everything seems to be rolling right now for Linsky. Mullen not making the saves that he was earlier in the half. Certainly hasn't been his fault that Holy Cross has gotten back in this game and retaken the lead. But Harvard's got to get back to what they were doing. And Coach Byrne-type Lacrosse, who's been a defensive mastermind with his time at Notre Dame.
And Harvard takes the timeout. We will take one as well. The Crusaders on fire here in the second quarter. They're up by 2 with under 2 minutes to go in the half. Welcome back here to Holy Cross, where if you're just joining us, we're late in the first half. Holy Cross has scored 6 unanswered goals after they trailed 4-0 to Harvard, and they now have a 2-goal lead as we close in on halftime in Worcester, Massachusetts. Travis Eldridge, Craig White back with you. Craig, this has been a tale, really, of 2 quarters. Or the first part of the first quarter was all Harvard. They were getting great goalie play from Kyle Mullen, and Holy Cross has figured out how to open the floodgates.
Yeah, and Holy Cross has played a lot of close games so far this year. 3 1-goal games, all wins, and then lost by 2 to Providence in a defensive struggle. So this is a team who already has experience with close games, and like we talked about, since this one opened up, we expect this one to be close right down to the end.
And another face-off win here for O'Connell. Holy Cross has lost only 2 face-offs in this game, and a flag is down. So Holy Cross, a free possession here, as they know they'll get a man up whenever Harvard can touch this thing up.
See a little bit of frustration coming out on the Harvard side, given how things have gone for them on face-offs.
Mulaney to Linsky. He's got a couple so far tonight. Now Spangenberg. Mulaney little shimmy shake against the short stick, shoots high. And that will bring us the penalty. So another man-up chance coming for the Crusaders. And it's just a simple offsides. There against Harvard. Goes up against Madronic, who just a little too excited there as a face-off wing. "32nd man up for the Crusaders. Entered this game 3 for 14. That one stopped away by Mullen. He's up to double-digit saves already here for Harvard. Denano feeds Spangenberg. Penalties released. We're back to even strength. Denano is pushed away, and Holy Cross takes a timeout with 31 seconds to go in the half. They can hold for one if they'd like. Craig, we've been talking about the drama between these two programs and how exciting this series has been. We talked about it right off the top. 3 of the last 4 years, not one overtime has been needed to decide these games. 2 overtimes. 3 of the last 4 years, we've had 1-goal games. It has been an exciting series to be a part of.
And you'd figure at this point that water would kind of seek its level and that we'd get one that wasn't close, or one that at least didn't go to overtime or a second overtime. But hey, if Holy Cross continues to play like they have here in the second quarter, lacrosse, much like basketball tends to be, or even volleyball for that matter, tends to be at times a game of runs. So if Harvard is able to get things figured out either in the face-off area, which there have been no signs of that so far, more likely it's going to be that defensive game that ratchets up like we saw back in the first quarter, and they can get stops and turn it into better transition and scores, then we're going to get another close game. But I feel like if this game is not a close game at this point, it's more likely that Holy Cross will be able to sustain success just because of how good they've been at faceoffs, and we haven't seen that from Harvard.
Yeah, Dan O'Connell came into this game at 65% through 4. Those numbers are going way up. A guy who actually transferred from South Carolina, played club lacrosse as a freshman, now in his senior season here at Holy Cross. That was a great find for head coach Peter Burke. Well, the old coaching staff and a player that Burke inherited here now in his second season, his first full year as the full-time head coach. Under 20 seconds to go here for Holy Cross. Linsky feeds. Poked away by Harvard. With 5 seconds left, a ground ball by the Crimson. And that's going to do it on our opening half. It certainly was a half of runs between these two teams. It started all Harvard. They scored the first 4, and then Holy Cross responded here in Worcester with 6 in a row, and the Crusaders have a 2-goal lead at the break. We'll be back here at halftime from Worcester. Getting ready for the start of the second half here in Worcester. Travis Eldridge and Craig White back with you. Craig, it was a game of runs in the first half. Harvard started really well.
Oh, yeah, they sure did. And things were going right their way, specifically on the defensive end and in the goaltending-wise, and that is what allowed them to have possession after possession offensively. And then the offense barely touched the ball as Holy Cross regained it and then eventually took their first lead, which they carried into halftime.
Yeah, Harvard opened the game on a 4-0 run, led 4-2 after 1, and the second quarter all Crusaders. They scored 4 goals, 6 unanswered in all, to take this 6-4 lead as we get ready for the third quarter, led by Justin Linsky there. You saw that last goal of the second quarter from him. He's got a couple. Dean Denano, a pair for the Crusaders as well. And the theme of this game continues to be Holy Cross's domination at the faceoff X. Dan O'Connell losing just 2 faceoffs, 10 of 12 in the opening 30 minutes. And here the Crusaders senior getting another faceoff win to start the third. So much pressure being put on this Harvard defense as they've had extended time on the field in high-pressure situations with the lack of success at the face-off X. This is Connor Waldron dodging down the alley. Has that ball poked away. Loose ball scooped up. Some trouble here for Harvard. Frisoli diving for it, but Linsky, right place, right time. He takes a tumble and draws a flag. A couple of flags down for Harvard. So a man up coming here for Holy Cross.
Well, we talked about how Harvard needs to be better on the clear during that first quarter, Travis, and same sort of thing. Give Holy Cross credit on their ride. They're pressuring quickly. They'll throw two guys on the ball, not afraid to leave somebody open farther down the field. Right now, the Crimson can't find him, though.
So free possession here for the Crusaders. A big hit as Jack Frisoli comes up with the cause turnover and a ground ball, but now we'll get our penalties.
And you wonder if it'll be two guys down here in a 6-on-4, if it was same guy, which I think it'll be the latter. Maybe just a 90-second, we'll see.
It may have been some words said afterward.
Yep. Yep.
So we've got a 6-on-5 for a minute and a half. She got a 30-second plus a minute. It's a 90-second man-up opportunity here for the Crusaders. I believe it's Chris Rhoda in the box for the Crimson, the senior from Southeastern Massachusetts. A golden opportunity here for Holy Cross to strike first. They were 0 for 5 on the man-up in the opening half. So some struggles on the extra man, but 90-second man-up opportunity here to start the second half. Step down shot, another save from Mullen. He had double-digit stops in the first half, and he starts the second like he started the first.
Yeah, powerful rip from Waldron. Kind of bends it around the defender. And in good position again is Mullen. That is a huge stop given the 6-goal run, the 92nd man down, and now Harvard will be able to, you'd think, probably kill this off. Surprised there's not more extra pressure already being put on here on the 6-on-5.
Yeah, Holy Cross does have an extra player out there where they can double. So far, not really pressing out. Down to 30 seconds on the man up.
Yeah, you wonder why that is. They're able to take the ball away and get another goal here. That's kind of step on the throat type moment.
Instead, it's Anderson moves it along. Down to 15 seconds on this man down for Harvard.
Nice catch.
To 1 second. Now penalty released. And we got a crease violation there on Harvard late in the shot clock, but they did exactly what they wanted to do. They killed the penalty. We're back to even strength, so no issues there, despite the fact they were down a man for 90 seconds.
Holy Cross has been perfect on their clear so far tonight. I'd like to see Harvard, what kind of adjustments they have coming out of halftime, and if they're able to come up with something creative on this ride. Obviously, Holy Cross looking pretty calm and settled already on the offensive end.
Here's Linsky. Now Sean Mullaney dodging downhill, had his stick deflected. Jack Frisoli, he's an impressive looking short stick D-midi for Harvard. Now Donano fakes up high as he comes around the back of the cage. Kodzis draws a flag. That one wide, but another penalty on Harvard coming.
You'll like the aggressive style. And you mentioned the name of Frisoli just seconds ago, Travis. He had the slide. They went to the double on Kodzis quickly, and that's where the penalty came. It's just a little bit too overly aggressive. I thought Holy Cross helped along that prior penalty, but this one, no doubt about it, and it's going to be a full minute here. Although, you got to like what Harvard has done man down. They've almost been better defensively as of late man down than they have been 6-on-6.
Jacob Bowl goes to the box for a minute for the Crimson. An offer on the night for Holy Cross on the man up so far. That pass deflected. They were looking down on the crease.
Kick it.
Big ground ball here. Somehow back. Now over midfield. And Harvard comes up with it. That's who it is. It's for Soli.
Yeah.
Right place, right time.
Those are the kind of balls that Harvard's got to have if they're going to get back into this game. Those ground balls that, hey, frankly, they were beat at a lot of them out in Amherst on Saturday and still won because of how good Kyle Mullen was. But those kind of things, you need to do something here defensively, and those 50-50 balls in the midfield that went Holy Cross's way, especially in transition back in that first half. Harvard's got to get those so they have a few more offensive possessions than they've had.
This is Bryn Evans racing on. Guy who did not play for this Harvard team last year, but got the start this past week against UMass in the midfield. Back in 2018, the last time he played, scored a couple of goals in 12 games. Evans all the way around the outside of the box. See if Anderson can create from X. He's been quiet. 3 points on the night, all of them coming early.
Got to shoot here quick.
Down to 6 seconds on the shot clock. Skip pass down low, finding the side of the cage is Graf. And Tesoro comes up with it.
Well, Harvard recognizing shot clock is running down, and not a bad spot to get it to the dominant, primarily lefty in Graf on that right-hand side. It is his inside hand up for the shot, but a pretty difficult angle. And against, we've talked a lot about Mullen tonight, but Tesoro, a pretty good goaltender in his own right, and he's going to make that save more often than not from that kind of angle.
Still, all in all, Harvard has to be thinking this is a win. They've been down for a man for 2.5 minutes of the first 5 minutes of this third quarter. That skip pass, finding Waldron, but shoots high.
And head coach Jerry Byrne probably not happy with it. You never are when you're playing down. But at that same time, you got to find that balance where you don't want them to back off the aggression here either.
Spangenberg. Now down to under 20 seconds in the shot clock for Holy Cross. Waldron. Linsky feeds. Falling down. Another stop from Mullen. Back-to-back saves. And a crease violation on Holy Cross. Kyle Mullen is single-handedly keeping Harvard in this game.
Wow. What a stop on that first one. That short pass, kind of lateral to the goal line, real difficult for a goaltender to read. He made that initial save, and then on the follow-up as well, try to go high as well. Excellent sequence there from Mullen.
But another turnover in the clear for Harvard right around midfield, so Holy Cross gets it right back. And they have a chance to clear here, and they do.
I don't think it's a coincidence that the first goal that Holy Cross scored all the way back when it was 4-0 Harvard came on a second chance opportunity after a midfield turnover by Harvard. That in the face-off game, which we've touched on a lot here tonight, Travis, have been the theme here for Holy Cross in getting these possessions after possessions, whether it's a second look or a look back-to-back after a goal because of how good they've been on face-offs.
Just asking a lot of your defense to stay on the field in these high-stress situations. Spangenberg. Trying to get to the middle. Good defensive play there. David Strupp. Kodzis again. It hit somebody's helmet. I don't know if it got all the way through to Mullen.
See if they're going to call that a shot. I think it was a pass.
take another look at this. It didn't get through to Mullen. It looked like Strupp right in the back of the helmet.
Yeah, there was no chance it was ever a reset. I thought it was a pass, frankly, but
it stays 13 seconds on the shot clock here for Holy Cross, so they got to move. Here's Kadzis.
moving pick.
And that's been something refs have been asked to focus on, a point of emphasis this year, and Holy Cross gets caught on it late in the shot clock. At Harvard, a possession. Still nobody scoring in this third quarter. Stays a 2-goal advantage for Holy Cross. They've scored 6 unanswered goals after Harvard scored the first 4 of this game.
All the way back at 6:44, Travis, of the first quarter was the last time that Harvard scored with Kyle Anderson.
Magno looking for some sort of room. This Crusaders defense is really locked down. A team that ranked 8th in the country last year in goals against. Giving up fewer than 10 goals per game last season, and they've been pretty good this year as well. Anderson dives under, moves it along. Now Madronic had a pretty goal in the first half, but he's been quiet since. Dawson, down to 10 seconds on the shot clock. Dancing through, looked like it hit a pipe. The backup stays with Harvard in a fresh 80 seconds, but just unlucky for the Crimson. Step down shot, and Harvard finally gets one back. It's Kyle Salvatore.
Well, Travis, he asked me all the way back at the start of this half, or maybe it was at the end of the second quarter, what does Harvard need to do differently here to find some sort of rhythm on the offensive end? And I called for some of the midfielders to get in on the scoring action. Salvatore led middies in points last year. He was 4th on the team with 26 points. It just creates another wrinkle if you're able to get your midfielders involved in the offensive game. And because now Holy Cross has to recognize that shot from a little bit farther out, maybe, just maybe, it draws a little bit of the defense up, creating a little bit more space behind.
Salvatore, the junior from New Canaan, Connecticut, also a great squash player. That shot is saved by Mullen. I guess if you're going to lose faceoffs, you get a save right away and you get an offensive possession. It's just like a faceoff win.
Yeah, I think that head coach Peter Burke is probably going to have a word now with O'Connell. It's just you're dominating. There's no need to take that shot. Typically, you know, he's been good. Don't get me wrong.
Very good.
Faceoffs, he's been good, but I'm saying shooting-wise this year, 3 goals. But, you know, your faceoff guy's there to win faceoffs, not to shoot the ball. And when you're able to build a lead like they have after being down 4-0, now you give Harvard a chance to tie this ball game.
Something Harvard hasn't had a lot of in these last couple of quarters, possessions. A big one here for the Crimson, trying to tie things up. Shot from Brennan Evans is high on the jump shot.
Seeing a lot of these lefty-dominant, strong-hand Harvard offensive players along the right side. That time, little switch from Evans to go to the right hand, shooting on his offhand. Pretty good take, considering.
Evans draws some help. Loring had his stick deflected there, and a turnover as that pass goes out of bounds.
It's been consistent, good sticks defensively by Holy Cross. Seen him in shooting lanes, that time in a passing lane. You know, do anything to kind of interrupt the sequence. Getting a stick there on an arm causes an errant look, and now the Crusaders get the ball back.
Holy Cross looking for its 3rd straight win over Harvard, looking for their 4th win of the season. Sitting at 3-1 so far through 4 games. Best start since 2008 for the Crusaders. Their 2nd-year head coach, Peter Burke.
Yeah, last time they started 4-1, 1985.
Really been a Nice resurgence for this program, especially last year, 500, making the Patriot League tournament. That shot sails wide. Spangenberg looking to get to that near side spot to turn back. Now it's Donano from the far side. Run, and Mullen got a piece of it again.
I think Mulaney was maybe caught halfway between shot and pass. It looked like a shot, but it was in the direction, at least halfway towards a pass. Mullen should get credit for a save, and I think he will. And again, he's been Johnny on the spot so much here tonight.
16 saves for Kyle Mullen so far this evening.
Wow.
We thought 17 was impressive against UMass on Saturday. He's might blow that number out of the water. We still got a quarter plus to go. Here's Madronic. He's found success when he's been right there in the working the crease. They haven't found him there much. Holy Cross is packed into a little bit of a zone here. Dawson. Anderson gets free. Shot saved by Tesoro. Fresh 80 seconds, though, for Harvard. Good passing. A shot just wide from Madronic. Pretty play there for Harvard to get a look inside, something they have not found a lot of recently.
Yeah, get the goaltender peering over his shoulder a little bit more, has to go down low, take a peek behind the net, and then the ball comes immediately back out in front. That low to high type movement up and down vertically is something that we haven't seen from Harvard in this game.
Isaiah Dawson from the top of the box has it poked away. And here comes Holy Cross. Chris Conlon in transition. Consis looking for a step, gets through the defense, shoots wide. And it's kept alive here. It somehow got deflected out. I don't know if it hit Mullen or not, but Holy Cross ends up with the loose ball and they'll keep possession. Now 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Holy Cross has not scored in this third quarter. We've got a flag down, though. A flag down on Harvard. So the Crusaders will go man up here. Be interested to see if Holy Cross just holds to see what this penalty is and starts the fourth quarter with a man-up opportunity.
Keep the ball, too, no face-off.
That shot hits off Mullen. Brings us to the end of the third quarter. We will get a penalty to start the fourth, as the Crusaders were held off the scoreboard in that frame, but Harvard only able to get one back, and Holy Cross will enter the final 15 minutes with a one-goal lead here in Worcester. We'll be back. Travis Eldridge and Craig White back with you here at the College of the Holy Cross. What a performance from Kyle Mullen so far. He's got 16 saves for Harvard, as he has really been single-handedly keeping this Crimson team in it. But Holy Cross starting this fourth quarter on a man-up. It was too many men on the field for Harvard. So a good opportunity here for Holy Cross to add to this one-goal lead to start the fourth. 10 seconds left on this 30-second penalty for the Crusaders. Down on the doorstep, looking for some space. Now Waldron, we're back to even strength. Waldron has to get out of a little bit of trouble as the player for Harvard comes racing back on, shoots wide.
Mullen averaging 14.5 saves per last year. It's kind of like, hey, if your goaltender averages the most saves in the conference, it's great on one hand, but also that means you're playing defense a lot, which Harvard was, especially in Ivy League play. So both sides of the coin, but Mullen's been terrific here in these first two games to open 2020.
Mullen with 17 saves on Saturday. As this one goes up high, it's Linsky completing the hat trick. Mullen couldn't save that one. Justin Linsky strikes again.
Again, Linsky marked up against the short stick defensively. Fakes left hand, switches to the right as he goes around the right-hand side, finds the lane to the net. There's no slide defense that comes over, and Mullen is beaten on that short side.
And a timeout here early in the fourth quarter as Holy Cross has gone back up by 2, 7-5. And we will step aside. Holy Cross up by 2 here in Worcester. Welcome back here to the College of the Holy Cross. Check out the Crusaders bench as Justin Linsky completed the hat trick. All sorts of fired up. Crusaders up by 2 here in the fourth quarter against Harvard. This Crimson team, if you're just joining us, led 4-0 in this game. Holy Cross then scored the next 6 goals. They've traded goals here in the third and now to start the fourth quarter. And the faceoff X continues to be a huge advantage for Holy Cross. They've lost just 2 faceoffs so far today, and it continues to be that way as Dan O'Connell wins another one. Now 13 of 15, but a turnover here in the clear. So Harvard gets a much-needed possession. The sloppiness we've seen from Harvard a bunch in the clear, and now it strikes for Holy Cross.
Settle this thing down if you're the Crimson. Set it up in the half field. Work it through your best guys, either Anderson or Madronic. See what you can throw up together.
So Isaiah Dawson, top 20 recruit coming out of high school, the sophomore from California. Now Graff moved along to Anderson. Madronic. Canadian had a highlight reel goal in the first half, a behind-the-back beauty. Skip pass all the way over the defense. Loring thought about it. Now gets hit, taken away by Holy Cross. And good hustle play here by Spangenberg to get the ground ball and get possession for the Crusaders.
I'm not sure if it's just the attackman for Holy Cross or if it's coaching, but they've been awesome in transition, whether it's creating outlets on the clears or just having the headiness to locate these loose balls that have mucked up the middle of the field, and it's usually a guy in white who's gotten there first. And I mentioned this back in the first quarter, but you would think that the guys in crimson would have the advantage with the long poles. That hasn't been the case tonight.
Mulaney scoops it over to Kadzis. Kadzis said a tough shooting day. Still looking for that range. Guy came in with 8 goals on the season. Feed down on the doorstep, another one for Spangenberg, his second of the night, and Holy Cross has its largest lead of 3.
Real pretty play on the passing sequence there by Holy Cross. A little bit of angle coming to this one, but mostly straight ahead for Spangenberg, who's located about 10 feet or so off the crease. Little swivel, shoot, and finish. And that's a difficult one for the goaltender to read because of the lack of angle on it. So it's coming in a straight line. It looks almost like a shot, although you know it's a pass. And then you're not sure depth perception-wise where it's going to be stopped and where the guy is turning and then shooting. So depth-wise, that's hard to kind of read if you're a goaltender. If that makes sense, coming from one level of the offensive formation to the next, but in the same line of trajectory. And Holy Cross makes Harvard pay again.
Give the assist to Justin Linsky, now his 4th point of the night. He's having a huge day with 4 points, 3 goals and an assist. Just one shy of his career best 5 he had against Navy last season. Holy Cross has got to get it over O'Connell. A dangerous pass, but he gets it. And the face-off man will now settle things down as Holy Cross can get the offensive personnel on.
And now it's almost already time, if you're the home team, to start thinking about working this clock a bit. 3 goals in this kind of defensive battle here at home in the way that your face-off guy has been playing.
Kotzis steps down and stings the corner. 9th of the season for Kevin Kotzis.
Well, what do I know? Shoot it earlier in a possession. Hey, if Kotzis is going to be letting it rip like that, then you might as well take it at this point. We hadn't seen that range from him here in this game. Saw it earlier against UMass Lowell and such in the season. But Kotzis drills that one through. And like I said, if you're going to have that kind of range from that player, then there's no need to kill off clock. Now a 4-goal lead, the largest of the day for Holy Cross.
Kotzis was 0 for 10 shooting before that one, but finally able to dial it in. And he gives Holy Cross this 9-5 lead with 11 minutes to go. Finally a face-off win for Harvard, just their 3rd of the night. A much-needed one. And now, you know, if you're the Crimson, down by 4, every possession matters. This Harvard team does have some experience back offensively. 98% of their scoring from last year back. We saw that success in the first quarter, scoring 4 goals in the first 15 minutes, since held to just 1 goal in the last 2+ quarters. There's Bryn Evans. Pass a little high there for Salvatore. Still plenty of time for Harvard to operate. Anderson. Madronic got into some trouble. Now able to back it out. Still 20 seconds to go on the shot clock. That skip pass deflected. Anderson collects, has it taken away again. Spin move and a score! Nifty pickup by Kyle Salvatore, and he's got his 2nd of the night.
Well, it was nearly Chris Conlon again who stabbed that one out of midair right before that replay started. And then he had that over-the-top check as well to jar the ball loose from Anderson. But a somewhat fortuitous bounce ends up with Salvatore, who has that little spin on the 360, finishes cross body. And that was just about a must-score possession for Harvard. They cut this back down to 3.
So Harvard able to finally win a face-off there, just their 3rd face-off win of the game. But O'Connell says that's just a fluke. I'm going right back to work. Dan O'Connell continues to have himself a game. Not able to get it to Murphy, his short stick. And to the offense in Spangenberg.
Yeah, that one wasn't even close. Interesting that Coach Byrne didn't go back with Cucurullo, who won that previous one. Instead, it was Michael Calabro who was out there to take that one, and clean win by O'Connell.
Mulaney. Now Linsky. Feeds Spangenberg, his shot just wide. Good look for the sophomore. Spangenberg, a guy who's had a point in every single game he's played in his Holy Cross career. That continued tonight with a couple of goals. Stops on a dime here at X. Lambert gets to the left hand. Down to 14 seconds left on the shot clock here for Holy Cross. Spangenberg tied up. 5 seconds left to go. Shot is saved. Mulaney shot stopped by Mullen, and a chance to clear for Harvard and get another back. Long clearing pass all the way to the corner, and it's good. That's one way to clear. Just send it the length. Send it 60 yards.
Talking about some way to be creative on clears. Don't often see that when you plug it right to an attackman on the rainbow drop. At least 60 yards.
Here's Cheek. Now Dawson gets a step, shoots wide with the left hand. And the backup stays with Harvard. Still plenty of time for Harvard to go with the shot clock down to right around 20. Loring. Watson Cheek. Dawson's got to go with under 10. Anderson shoots high. 5 seconds left to go on the shot clock for Harvard. Most situations, you probably just send this to the corner, but down by 3, maybe more likely to take a chance. Ryan Graff has it poked away, and a shot clock violation on the Crimson. This Holy Cross defense continues to be really sharp. Brad Baker moves it along. Dean Dinano, who has a couple of goals tonight, content to settle things down. And now under 7 minutes to go, Holy Cross has time on its side. Baker spins to the middle, and that shot seen the whole way by Mullen. Maybe the easiest save he's had all night.
Yeah, certainly here in the second quarter. Coming from that high shot from a midfielder. See if Harvard can capitalize.
Frisoli taken down in transition, but a flag down. Good hustle by Sean Mullaney to get back in transition, an offensive midfielder. But the hit draws a flag, and so a man-up opportunity coming for Harvard. Neither team has been very good on the man-up tonight. Both teams 0 for. Harvard coming into this opportunity 0 for 3. Got a 30-second man-up here for the Crimson. Harvard was 1 for 4 against UMass on Saturday in their opener. Loring feeds in the doorstep, and Salvatore took his eye off of it.
That is exactly what he did, Travis. Took a peek over his shoulder, wanted the quick stick on the release, and instead of watching the ball into his cradle, he looked away and missed it. And that's a key screw up here with 5.5 to go.
And we're back to even strength. Some issues here, getting the ball over midfield for Holy Cross. But Linsky takes it himself and now gets out of some trouble. Taking toward 5 minutes to go. Holy Cross still holding on to a 3-goal advantage. Kodzis scored that last goal on an absolute bullet. And a timeout for the Crusaders here to preserve the possession. 31 seconds on the shot clock, under 5 minutes to go here in the quarter. Holy Cross looking for their 3rd straight win in this series. We'll see if they can hold on when we come back here from the College of Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. We're back here in Worcester. Holy Cross looking to put the finishing touches on a 3rd straight win over their New England rivals, Harvard. Under 5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. The Crusaders with a 3-goal lead. They've led by as many as 4 here in the second half. Coming out of the Crusaders timeout. 31 seconds left on the shot clock here for Holy Cross. Sean Mullaney starts with it. That shot sails high. Guy ended up in the crease. But a push on Harvard and a fresh 80 seconds. Plus a possession for Holy Cross. That is a tough break.
Yeah, it's almost best case scenario if you're Holy Cross.
It's almost better than a goal.
Yeah.
Justin Linsky, just 1 point shy of his career high of 4 points tonight. Cameron Magalotti, number 33 in white jersey for Holy Cross, seeing some time here in the fourth quarter. Freshman from Wyomissing, Pennsylvania. Now Kadzis. Mullaney winds one up, shoots wide. Mullaney without a point tonight, coming in 11 points on the season. A guy who was a second-team All-Patriot leaguer last year. Linsky. And had his stick deflected, looking for that pass, a turnover for Holy Cross, but you still took an extra 70 seconds off the game clock here, and Harvard now down to 3.5 minutes, down by 3.
It's this zone defense for Holy Cross that's been the answer to the 4 unanswered goals coming from Harvard in that first quarter. And honestly, even though they've gotten 2 since that point, momentum is not on Harvard's side, and it doesn't feel like it just by the old proverbial eye test that Harvard has enough in the tank here for 3 in 3 minutes. We'll see.
You see the Holy Cross bench trying to get this crowd into it, fired up there on the sideline. Loring gets into the middle, shoots wide. Now Anderson. It's tangled up with that shot by Graff just off.
And Graff's got to go to the right hand that time. He didn't have a lot of time. Maybe didn't have enough to switch, but the left hand off the outside there and made it a little bit easier of a save for Tesoro.
Dawson hasn't been able to find much room from those long dodges. Here's Graff again, and another save by Tesoro. Able to see that one nicely down the pipe. Now under 3 minutes to go. Big hit as Holy Cross crosses midfield. Loose ball hold on Holy Cross gives it to Harvard. Another look at this as Mullaney brought it across. Harvard's got to go quickly.
Yep.
But Dawson just hasn't found any room. Getting through this Holy Cross zone defense has proved to be a very big challenge for the Crimson. Anderson. Loring. Cheek. Everybody getting a touch.
There it is.
Anderson gets free and finally finds the back of the net. Harvard's got it back within 2.
Well, it's a long pass all the way from the right side to the left-hand side of the offense. And arguably the best goal scorer for Harvard, either Anderson or Madronic, And the quick switch, that was what I was calling for Graf to do on the previous play from that same spot. Switch to the right hand instead of that left hand when you're on the outside on the left-hand lane of the net. Get it over to that right hand, you got a lot better angle, able to beat Tesoro. And that's what it takes to beat this zone is these long passes cross field. We talk about skip passes all the time in lacrosse. That skipped probably 3 guys on its way from right to left. And Harvard running out of time here. See if they can muck up this faceoff.
And the problem has been they haven't been able to win a lot of faceoffs, but they get a faceoff win here.
I think by way of a push.
They'll take anything at this point.
And you make that yourself. Get between yourself, your man, and the ball. And make him go through your back in order to get to it. And that's what the Crimson did.
1:05 to go. Harvard down 2. This is Cheek. Problem for Harvard is the zone defense takes a long time to beat sometimes. On the doorstep, it's Graf! Back-to-back goals, the Crimson are within 1.
Wow, Travis, this series just breeds this kind of game. Said it a couple times, hey, if somebody's going to run away with this one just a little bit, it might be Holy Cross, but you never know when one team can get back into it quickly. And Harvard, who hasn't been able to win barely any faceoffs all night long, get a huge win on the previous one. And that same passing sequence, a little bit more angular that time, but again, coming way cross field, having to make Tesoro look left, move right, and get there. He couldn't get there in time. A 1-goal game with 45 seconds to go between us and maybe another overtime.
Dan O'Connell has dominated the face-off X today. Can't get this face-off win. And so Harvard is going to have a chance to tie things up with 38 seconds to go. Going to put a couple more seconds back on the clock. It's going to reset to 42 seconds and a timeout for the Crimson. Coach Jerry Byrne wants to talk things over. This team was dead to rights, down by 3 goals with just a couple of minutes to go, and now a chance to tie things up.
Well, that's why you love sports, right? Our machines out here playing the game, and so despite the fact that O'Connell has absolutely serviced Cucurullo for the majority of the night, it hasn't been the case on these last 2. And Cucurullo hasn't been clean by any stretch of the means, but he's, again, gotten between his man and the ball, made O'Connell go through him, draws a couple of loose ball pushes. 3 straight possessions now for Harvard. I don't know if we even saw that back in the first quarter when they made that 4-goal run. And now a chance again to send this thing to overtime when really, you know, if in all honesty, we thought probably this game was over just a couple minutes ago.
Remember the series history between these two. Back in 2016, it was Harvard who won in double overtime in this rivalry. That was actually the 33rd straight win against Holy Cross for the Crimson. You skip a year, move ahead to 2018. It was Holy Cross coming away with a double OT win. And then last year, after being down 10-3 in the third quarter, the Crusaders battling back to win in double OT, 11-10 over Harvard. That's the 2nd straight win for the Crusaders in overtime. Holy Cross would rather not need extra time this time around.
It seems like, I'm not sure, Harvard has finally gone with these cross-field passes, just something a little bit different, a little glitch in the defense that Harvard's been able to find. And you feel like, hey, this team had its back against the wall, and it's been successful here in the last couple possessions, but it'll all be for naught if they can't find the next one.
Isaiah Dawson triggers things in. 30 seconds for Harvard. Here comes Nick Loring. Dawson, shimmy shake. Thought about the shot, now moves it along. Big loose ball. Holy Cross has it. 12 seconds to go. Tesoro, under 10. It's going to be another 1-goal win for the Crusaders in this rivalry. Holy Cross holds on. 9-8 your final. Holy Cross now 4-1 on the season.
Well, the best start for Holy Cross since 1985. Mentioned it off the top. I don't think it's premature to say this is a new era for Holy Cross in men's lacrosse. This team looks good. Maybe the best team since the 1980s that Crusaders have had. And to beat it, hey, Harvard not right now at the top of the Ivy League, picked 6 out of 7, but this is a team who plays against some of the best teams in the country, and Holy Cross will see that too in Loyola in a few weeks' time. But still, this is a big win for this Crusaders program, and weighing Harvard against the other echelon that Holy Cross has seen thus far this year, this might be the biggest win so far.
A big win for the Crusaders, who now look ahead to Patriot League play starting this weekend as they take a trip to take on a ranked Army squad. But they'll relish in a victory against a New England rival here. Another one-goal thriller between these two. Crusaders winning 9-8 over Harvard. For Greg White, our entire crew here at Holy Cross, I'm Travis Eldridge saying so long from Worcester, Massachusetts.